Hi everyone, welcome to Grow Roots. This is Shannon and this is my March 2024 front yard garden tour. I am so excited to show this to y'all because this is exactly what I had visioned for my front yard for this year in the springtime, for the most part. So sit back, get your favorite drink, and let me show you what's going on in my garden. I am in North Texas. I'm right in between Zone 8A and Zone 8B. I feel like it acts like both at times. I am just north of Dallas, Texas. And so here we go. Things are really coming alive in the garden this year. So starting off up at the front here, I have these matrix pansies. I purchased one flat of these in mid-October and planted them at that time in mid-October. So they are well established here in the front garden. They survived the winter time just fine. We had one really big cold snap where we got down to about 5 degrees with a wind chill in the negatives, and these guys stopped blooming at that time, but you know, the plants stayed alive and they bloomed right afterward and have been blooming ever since. They were fantastic for me, as well as the plants that are right behind them, which are Dusty Miller. And again, I got these one flat of these at Green Acres in mid-October, same time as the pansies, and planted those at that time. And oh, I just love, this is my vision. I wanted these beautiful, colorful pansies, a whole sea of them, and then I wanted the Dusty Miller to just be slightly taller than the pansies and come up right behind them. And that's exactly what they're doing, and they've been doing this all winter long. It's just been remarkable. This is the first time I've mixed pansies with Dusty Miller, and I think I will do it all the time now. It's just unbelievable. Right behind that, you can see I have a row of daffodils. I purchased some daffodils actually on clearance at the, I would say it's maybe midwinter. I purchased these at Walmart, and they're just these really pretty little naturalizing daffodils, your typical yellow, and I got them on clearance for $1, and I think I have 2 bags here. I believe these daffodils are ice follies, if I'm not mistaken, and I have had these in the garden for a few years. There's like 1 or 2 tucked back in there. And so those are naturalized from a couple years ago, but definitely not as many ice follies as I had planted, I don't know, 3 or 4 years ago. So, but I just love how they're popping up in between in the Dusty Millers and right behind the Dusty Millers. As you can see, right behind the daffodils, I have these beautiful, these are purple tulips. Y'all definitely missed my pink tulips. I had gotten a pink and purple mix of tulips from Sam's Club. There are 50 that are planted here, and I think about half of them were these really tall pink tulips. I did do a short on those. Let's see, I think they were also included in my January garden tour. February, I'm sorry. They were included in my February garden tour, I think. I know I've posted about them, so definitely check out those videos so you can see the pink ones. And they were short-lived, about a week and a half or so, and then what followed were the purple ones. I love how they kind of had succession in their blooming, because I had the pink ones first and those looked spectacular. Those died off and I got very sad, but then we got the purple ones. But this is definitely exactly what I wanted for this. I wanted, you know, the pansies, and then the Dusty Miller, and then the daffodils, and then the tulips right behind. I just couldn't ask for anything better. The only thing that I would do differently if I'm going to do the same thing next year is I just would plant even more daffodils and even more tulips, so that, you know, it's just even more spectacular. But as it is really, really fabulous. I also have some perennials tucked in back here that I want to show you, and they are waking up. Let's see. Let me start over here because I had purchased this lemon ball sedum in the fall on clearance, and I had them in pots because I just really didn't know how they would do, and I wanted to test them in this area because this is where I wanted them. So I had them in pots in this area, and they did fabulous. They were green all winter long. I think they even grew in the winter time in the cold, and now they're really starting to grow. I'm trying to decide if those are even starting to maybe form blooms. Maybe, I'm not sure. This is the first time I've had lemon ball sedum. They had grown out of the pots and started rooting down below, so I took those rooted cuttings and I placed them into the ground so that I could have some more right here, and they have taken off. They really have, so I'm super happy about that. This is just the Dianthus and the pansy and another Dianthus and another pansy that I had planted in the pot. I just took everything out of the pot and I placed it there. So yeah, I think that's going to be lovely, that lemon ball sedum kind of spilling over the edge there. I also have Night Salvia that I transplanted. I used to have a whole row of Night Salvia down there, but it wasn't as tall as it needed to be for that particular space. So I split it up and I planted it all along here. So there's one right there, there's one right there, there's one right there, and then I have more kind of going on. Look at that view. Oh my goodness, I just love that so much with the tulips and the daffodils and the dusty miller. Woo! Okay, so yeah, I have Night Salvia coming up here, and it's really coming alive for sure. It's looking great. Here, haha, I just went shopping at Callaway's last week, and these are not planted in the landscape yet because I'm not ready to do that, but these are Super Tunia Vista Jazzberry, and these are just the Callaway's variety of verbena. Look at the shades of purple and pink. Oh my goodness. And then the mix of the jazzberry with the verbena. I'm loving that. This is my vision for the front border. So where you see these pansies, when I haven't decided when I'm going to do this. Probably at the end of the month, I'll be pulling up these pansies. Bye-bye, beautiful pansies. You have treated me so well for so long, but I will be replacing them with Super Tunia Vista Jazzberry and these beautiful verbena plants from Callaway's. So I'm just kind of plopping them in the garden there. I will be watering them. We've gotten lots of rain, so they'll be good for a little while. This garden bed does not receive overhead water. Before the season last year, we replaced all of the irrigation in this garden bed with drip irrigation. You can kind of see it there. I have a few different rows of drip irrigation, so those will not get watered there. I will need to make sure to water them, but they'll be fine for a little while because we just got a lot of rain. Over here is some Dianthus. This is I think Double Pink's Sweet William from seed last year, and I've never seen it flower, but I do believe it's getting ready to. I believe those are the beginnings of some blooms, so that is very exciting. That plant is huge and it has done well. It has been heat tolerant, drought tolerant, and cold tolerant, if you can believe it. It was mostly green all through winter, so super excited to see that bloom. Coming in to the garden here, I'm just going to show you a few perennials that are still coming up here. Let's see, being careful not to squish anything. The ground is so squishy. Okay, here I have a Hot Trumpets salvia. That's going to be a bright red salvia that kind of stayed green all winter long as well. This, oh my goodness, it's a Salvia Greggi. I cannot even tell you how vigorous this plant seems to be. It did stay somewhat green even through winter, and now it's just living life, growing like crazy every single day. And some people's Salvia Greggi are even starting to bloom already. I believe that's a pink Salvia Greggi there. I have some daylilies coming up there. I have another Night Salvia there. And let's see, over here, I have a new variety of daylily. And then I kind of had the same thing going on here. So I have another Salvia Gregi, and guess what? It's blooming. It's putting a bloom on anyway. Look right there. Ooh, how fun. Actually, it's got quite a few blooms on it. All right, that is super fun. And then over there, I have another hot trumpet salvia that will be a red salvia. And I have some more Night Salvia right there. And I had planted some Night Salvia here and then where my foot is, but it did not survive. I have a daylily coming up right there. And let's see, even more daffodils coming up, looks like. That's super fun. So I'm gonna get out of the garden bed and show you over here. So this is my friendly garden sheep. His name is Lambo. And he sometimes moves around throughout the garden, throughout the seasons. You will see him in my future tours, probably in different locations. But right now, where he fits best is right there. And that's because it is the transition between the sun. That's a full sun garden bed. Over here, might be full sun right now, but it will not be full sun once this vitex tree fully leaves out. So this is a vitex tree, often called a chase tree. And it is growing like crazy. I had to prune this back pretty hard so that it was just this one stump with this 3 branches, because it's trying to be very bushy on me, and I don't want that. I want it to be more of an upright tree. But once this fills in, this will be all pretty much dappled shade under here. And so one thing that I did last year, I tried to focus on ground cover in this area. So this is Burgundy Glow Auga, and it is looking fantastic right now. However, it did not look great in the wintertime. This is my first time growing Auga in general, and I thought it was going to be evergreen throughout the winter, which is one of the reasons that I picked it. However, it did not like that big drop in temperatures we had, down to the 5 degrees. Yeah, I didn't like that very much. It was even covered, I believe, if I'm not mistaken. So I thought I was going to lose it, but it is here, and it's just now starting to look better. I was kind of disappointed because it did not look great, but now look at it. It's just beautiful. I have another one over here, which is interesting. This is still Burgundy Glow Auga, but it seems as though this part right here has reverted a little bit to a different, like, it looks kind of like chocolate chip. I think there's a chocolate chip one. Anyway, look at it though. It is blooming. I am so excited. Look at, there's another bloom. I can't wait. I hope all of this is just covered in blooms here soon. So basically there are 3 different plants here. There is one right there, and there is one right here, and there is one right here. But it all began with one big plant that was $8.99, and I split it up into these 3 and saved some money, and now it turned into 3 plants. So super happy with that. It was a bit of a transplant shock. I had to baby it a little bit, but it was a great way for me to get 3 plants for the price of 1. Over here I have Variegated Vinka Major as another ground cover. So I purchased a flat of it from Green Acres last year and planted it over here. It does great in the shade. I will say it's a little bit invasive. You have to be careful because it's popping up everywhere. It could, if I'm not careful, it will take over this whole garden bed. I'm not sure, like, it's kind of going in the middle of that Night Salvia over there. So yeah, you do need to be careful with this. It could be invasive, I think, in my opinion, in my zone 8 in North Texas. But I'm hoping that it will give me some pretty purple flowers, and I just think it's the most beautiful plant, to be honest. I really love it. It's better than seeing bare dirt, for sure. And all I need to do is just keep in mind, you know, cut it out, pull it out from where I don't want it to be, and that will be just fine. Coming around here is my endless summer hydrangea. Look at that. Wow. It is a good 4 feet tall, because it's almost as tall as the sunshine ligustrum behind it. And it's ready. It's going for sure. Starting to leaf out. I did go in here and give it some pruning, and when I say that, all I did was I took out a lot of what was in the center was dead, and so it was very easy to tell the dead sticks from the ones that were about to burst with life. They're very easy to tell the difference. The dead ones kind of just pull away from the center, and you know, it's best for the plant to pull all of that dead out right before it starts leafing out. You do not want to prune this in any way, shape, or form with the branches that are still alive, because the buds have formed and they are going to be the ones that bloom for you first. This is an endless summer variety of Hydrangea macrophylla, so I will get blooms on the old growth as well as the new growth. But if you prune the old stuff, you're getting rid of your old blooms. And then, you know, if you have an endless summer variety, you'll get another flush of blooms, but it'll be much later and maybe not quite as much too. So I love that plant. It is normally in the shade. Right now, like I said, it is in a mostly sun location, but it's wintertime and cool temperatures, so the hydrangea is okay with that. So yeah, and then you could see the variegated Vinka major is doing very well under the hydrangea as well. So I'm hoping they'll give me some blue blooms here pretty soon. Coming back around, I kind of ignored this, but this is my hedge of sunshine ligustrum. It is magnificent. If you have been in any of my other front or backyard garden tours, you know that I love this shrub. It's one of my favorite shrubs to grow in North Texas, because it is full of color all year long. And it defoliated just a little bit. I think you can see probably on some of those branches over there, the cold does make it defoliate just a little bit, but it comes alive really, really well. If you can see that new growth, it's full of new growth, and I'll have to trim this back several times. It will grow, you know, 6 feet tall, maybe taller if I allow it to. So, but I just love it as the background to this front garden for sure. Okay, so I'm coming around to my awkward planter. Well, it would have been awkward if I didn't add this 3-tier planter. You know, it's funny how the builders kind of put these square planters in like in the middle of concrete sometimes, and you're like, what do we do with this? So what I have done is I have added a 3-tier planter that I purchased off of Facebook Marketplace for $10, and it's one of the best purchases I've ever made. It is ready for new cocoa liner, so please ignore that. And this is going to be totally redone here in the next month or so, but I absolutely love it for my annuals, summer annuals, winter annuals, all of the things. Here we have our garden goose. This was free off of Facebook Marketplace, and so I decided to put him there for now. He's kind of, that's right where our walkway is. So I just love that kind of view as people are walking up to our front door. They get to greet our little garden goose. Down here, I had mums last year, and I actually really liked them. They just kind of overtook the area. After a while, these perennialized mums just don't keep their shape very well. They flop over. They're just not looking their best anymore. And so I wanted to try something new in this area. In addition to that, they were growing way taller than this, and any plants that were planted here were not getting any sun. So that was also kind of a bummer as well. I've always wanted to grow Liriope, so that's what I did. I think it's going to be great here. It is a great, like, part sun, shade, you know, almost any conditions type of plant. And I love the variegated leaves. They're super pretty, and you can see it's got all kinds of new growth coming up, and they will bloom purple as well. I believe maybe early summer, I think, is when they bloom their purple blooms. So they're babies. I just planted them, let's see, last fall. So you know, they've got lots of room to grow, and they'll be happy there, I think. Down here I had some hyacinths. Actually, that's a new bloom right there. So you can see what the hyacinths look like when they aren't in bloom. This isn't a spectacular specimen of a hyacinth bloom, but they are mostly spent. Let's see, I know I got some pictures. I'm gonna pop some pictures on the screen so that you guys can see. I think we completely missed the hyacinth blooms in between my garden tours, because my last garden tour was about 3 weeks ago, and that's about when after that is when they started blooming. But they were beautiful. I got them again on clearance in the bulb section at Walmart in midwinter or so. So I planted those the first week of January along with my tulips, and they did great. So here I have a variety of different things, mostly Dianthus. Here, this was a perennial Dianthus, pinks. I love the blue-green foliage of that. I will be, when I take this out, I'll be popping this somewhere else, probably in the front garden. So that will be great. I have some pansies in annual Dianthus that I picked up from Walmart, just chilling in there. I still have some pine cones that were from a neighbor's pine tree. And coming up here, I have some pansies as well as some blue bonnet plants. I picked up these blue bonnet plants last week at Callaway's. These little guys are $1.99, which I thought was a great deal, and I couldn't figure out where I wanted to plant these. They're gonna be somewhat short-lived. Once they're done blooming, they'll start dying off in the heat. It's gonna get hot here real quick. But I popped them here for now, and I think I might plant them right down here. Like maybe one right there and one right there. I think that will be a good spot for them. I just kind of pop them there until I figure out where I want them. But there's pansies in there, and there's a perennial balloon flower in there. Oh my gosh, it's coming up. Yay, this is the first I've seen that. Okay, maybe I need to move that blue bonnet because it looks like it's impeding the progress. That is balloon flower, and that blue bonnet kind of needs to move. So hang on here. Let's see what we got going on. Yeah, look at that. That's pretty awesome. This is within the last week or so, I think. Okay, so this blue bonnet is going down here for now. And maybe I'll put the other one down there while I'm at it, because I don't want to impede the progress. There we go. Those actually look kind of pretty there. And when they bloom, they're going to be spectacular. I like it. Okay, we're good. But yeah, look at that. So cute. This balloon flower I grew from seed last year. So that's kind of why you see me taking such pride in seeing the new growth. I'm going to go off on a tangent, y'all. I'm almost done with the garden tour, so fast forward a little bit if you don't want to hear my tangent about new growth. But this is one of my favorite times of year, is this early springtime. And the reason is because I love to see new growth come out of something that appears to be dead. I think it's just such a beautiful picture of, it relates to my faith in Jesus. It's something that Jesus does for us. He gives us new life out of something that was dead. And it's a beautiful picture of God's creation as well, and that it renews and restores itself every year. And just like Jesus is constantly renewing and restoring us, it's just so beautiful. But there's my tangent of spring. You can see I get very excited when I see that new growth that I haven't noticed before. Okay, moving on. Here is my Boxwood Hedge. I believe these are winter gem boxwoods, and I got these as little tiny babies. This is their third growing season here, but this year I planted hyacinth bulbs in between them, and again, we just missed them, honestly, but here they are. Okay, so last year I planted alliums in between each boxwood and none of them came up. I think that's what that is. I think it's an allium from 2 years ago that never showed itself last year, but decided to show itself this year. I don't see any blooms, but there you go. I think that's what that is. Yeah, so this boxwood, it's super fun. This boxwood hedge, they're tiny right now, but will grow bigger, and I think that's a perfect spot for them. So here's one of my containers on the porch, and it has English ivy in it that I picked up last year. Wow, it really overwintered fantastic and stayed green all winter long. It is a shade-loving ivy, and it can take over if you plant it in the garden, so be careful, but I just absolutely love it in these containers, and I think it can stay there. It can be my spiller aspect of anything that I plant here, so this was a great investment. I have Dianthus growing right there, just beautiful. Interestingly enough, as my trellis, it's a plant stand. I like that idea. I got that plant stand for free. A neighbor was getting rid of it, so why not? I think they're really pretty trellises too. So here are my 2 pots that are kind of coming up the steps. And here is my pink Bandana Lantana that was an annual Lantana that I purchased last year, but Lantana is marginal here. Kind of zone 8B, 8A, which is what I am, but we got zone 7 temperatures, and it was in a pot, so that makes it, you know, it was subjected to even more cold, honestly, than if it was planted in the ground. I kind of wanted to see if it would overwinter, but there are no signs of life here quite yet. The root ball here is so massive and so thick and dense that all I could put was 1 hyacinth there and 2 tulip bulbs here, and they're already done blooming. I'm sorry you didn't get to see that, but that's all that grew here in this pot. And I probably will just go ahead and take this out, the pink Bandana Lantana. I don't think it's going to survive. I don't know. When I get ready to plant everything, this will be probably towards the end of the month. If this still isn't green, it's definitely going to get taken out. Over here, oh boy. Okay, there's lots of growth happening on my Limelight Hydrangea that I had not seen before. So this is a Limelight Hydrangea standard. I have trained it into tree form. You can see the trunk right here, and then it has 3 main branches coming off, and then I have pruned it to just 3 branches coming off of each branch there, because I want it to be this like tree form shape. I lost one of the branches. I lost one of them 2 growing season ago. Otherwise there would be a branch coming out of here, but lost it. So I am going to probably keep this branch that's forming here and this branch, even though it's really little. I'm going to keep this branch here so that it can kind of come out this way, because it is a little bit lopsided at the moment. Although these branches right here and right here are coming out this way, so they'll be fine too. But one thing I do need to do is, you see all of this is all new growth right here coming along the base of the trunk, and I don't want it. I don't want it at all. It's trying to be a shrub. I want it to be a tree form tree, so I'm going to need to get rid of all of these, and I just kind of clip them with my fingers when they begin like this. You could get pruners if you wanted to, but when they're little like this, I just clip them off, and they'll keep trying for just a little while, and then they'll give up. But yeah, I do not want those whatsoever. And then here too, I'm gonna have to figure out which ones that I want to keep, and because I don't want a whole lot of growth. You want, when you're training it to be a standard, it's not as stable as a shrub would be, and so you don't want as many branches for sure. And so I'm going to be getting rid of a lot of them that are along this trunk right here, except for those 2 that are heading out towards me. But yeah, you can see it's really leafing out and doing really, really well. I'm excited for that. Okay, so coming around here, I haven't decided if I'm going to actually plant things. Yes, I did decide. I am going to plant something in this new pot here. I got it for free again on Facebook Marketplace. I am going to be planting a vine here, as well as maybe some part shade annuals as well. This is going to be year of the vine, y'all. I've got 3 different annual vines growing right now from seed. I've got purple hyacinth vine. I've got quite a few of those. I have some morning glory, blue pickety, and I also have, black-eyed Susan or Thunbergia vine. And so I want a vine to kind of come up here. I'll probably put some fishing wire for it to climb up with some hooks up there. I want it to come around all the way over here, if it will, and come all the way. And I'm going to plant another vine down here. I do have a jasmine vine. I forgot to talk about that when I was over here. This is a Confederate star jasmine that I have here, but the problem that I have with this is that it dies back to the ground every single winter. And so all of the leaves, this vine is dead, but you see I have this espalier trellis, and so I'll be planting one of the annual vines here too. The jasmine will still be growing in among it as well, but I'll be putting an annual vine here to grow all the way up here, and then hopefully a different vine will be growing all the way up here, and we will have just, if you look at this entrance will be kind of carved out like an archway of vines. So I'm super excited about that. I hope that my vision comes to life. Sometimes it does and sometimes it doesn't, and that's okay, but we try, right? Coming up here, I have my hydrangeas. So 2 different types of hydrangea macrophylla. This type is a variegated lace cap hydrangea, and let's see, I'm hoping to see this bloom this year. It has not bloomed for me yet, but I do have old growth on the branches this year, which I don't think I had it last year. But what's really weird is this plant is kind of struggling, I think. I'm seeing some leaf curl. I'm about to fertilize it, by the way. I'm seeing some leaf curl, and then all of the growth that's starting on the branches is not really lasting. I'm not sure why, but this new growth from the base is doing fine, although I'm never going to see that bloom. So and then it seems to be mixed with a regular hydrangea back here, not variegated, but I have lots of new growth coming from those 2 stems that are not variegated. So I may see blooms on those, and hopefully they'll be lace cap. But see, there's some growth, but see, it keeps dying. So we will see. I'm really hoping I see blooms on this. We'll see. We will, however, definitely see blooms on this guy because it's already full of blooms. Look, this is just your endless summer hydrangea. This is my oldest plant that I have in my garden. It is probably 12 years old. I think I got it in 2011, so it's going to be 13 years old this year for Mother's Day. And it's been in this container the entire time, believe it or not. And it has blooms absolutely everywhere. I am so excited. I just noticed this. So yeah, this is just, I call it my big daddy. Look how big it is. It is just as big, if not maybe even a little bit smaller than the other one that I have underneath my Vitex tree. But it is my oldest plant. It has been in that container the entire time. And I'm getting ready to fertilize as well, give it the food that it's going to need to carry on these buds. My goodness, it's full. I don't know, y'all. I say this every year probably. I don't know if I've ever seen so many blooms already in the first week of March. That's crazy. I love it though. Okay, so coming around here, I have a new pot here as well, and right now it has a Gerber Daisy in it. I'm not super sure if I'm going to keep it there. It does get quite a bit of morning sun and then afternoon shade, and I'm pretty sure Gerber Daisies can tolerate that, and it's such a striking pink. I got this as a gift from one of my little girls in my daycare. I have a home daycare, and she was so sweet to pick one out for me and bring that a couple weeks ago. So I'm excited to, if it's not, I may put it in my part shade garden bed that's in the backyard, but I think it is beautiful there. So Decisions. So over here, I have my front entrance. I just wanted to get like a further back view because I have my Gomphrena wreath up there that I have hung up. I grew those last year from Salmon Pastel Gomphrena, and I made them into a wreath which I absolutely love, and I love it there as well. I have my little white bench for my little daycare kiddos, and then I have 2 black urns. They were also free off Facebook Marketplace. They were not black when I received them. They were in really, really rough shape, but I just painted them black and they look amazing. Look at that. Not to mention the plants that are in it were free to me. Let's see. So these are plants that I overwintered from last year. So this is a tricolor sweet potato vine, and it's just absolutely beautiful with this. It's got pink in it. Do you see pink and white? I love variegated leaves, but especially when it's pink and white, it's just beautiful. And so this really successfully overwintered for me. I had them in my backyard and brought them in for the winter. These are double up pink begonias from Proven Winners that I bought 2 plants last year and grew them in full shade in my backyard in a container, and they just did spectacular. So spectacular that they survived about 3 or 4 freezes all the way through mid-December. And it was in mid-December that I decided to split that plant up, and I turned 2 plants into 5 plants and brought them, potted them up and brought them inside and overwintered them. They didn't do spectacular over the winter, but they did survive. And so you can kind of even see where I cut it back, and that's kind of the dead, but I promise you, it's going to burst into life, into beautiful pink blooms very, very soon, and I'm very excited for that. I have another one right here. That is the double up pink begonia, and then I've paired that with purple sweet potato vines that I overwintered, that I had growing in my backyard last year as well. So I think that color combination of the bright green with the purple, and then it will be pink blooms as well. It's just absolutely beautiful for that urn there. So there you go. That is my front garden for March 2024. I do believe this is the best that my front yard has looked in the springtime ever. I really do believe so. I love how this vision came together, and I probably will be doing something similar to this for every spring to come, because I absolutely love it. I hope that you enjoyed this. I thank you all for coming along with me, looking at my front yard. I hope that it inspired you. I hope that you're enjoying a beautiful spring day as well. Thank you so much for watching, everybody. Bye-bye.